Well, this polar bear just got suspended from school for violating the PED policy because Brody's ripped. What is going on, students? It's Devlin Cassidy, aka The Scholar, and today we have a Polaris V Premium deck profile. I was eventually going to get around to this, but I finally did, so you're catching it right now as we begin to go on the kind of the downward path of the remaining V Premium decks I have on my channel. But without further ado, if you guys do not have any of your pre-orders up to date yet, if you're still behind on standard and everything, please go to Kingslayer Cards, use the promo code SCHOLAR, save 5% on checkout. They're going to handle you right, it's going to support me, and it's going to get you cardboard. So, hey, it's a win around for everybody, but let's get started. So, again, this is V Premium, play V starters, and don't fail deck check. And on to our main grade 3 here, we are playing 4 copies of the big boy Polaris himself. So this card is fantastic, and he kind of plays a little bit differently than Great Nature, but he goes back to the number game that Great Nature always plays. So what this card says is that at the end of the battle, it attacked a Vanguard. You can counterblast 1, choose one of your rear guards, and that unit gets this unit's power until the end of turn. And if that chosen units is 50k or greater, you can stand that unit, and if the chosen units is 70k or greater, you can restand this Vanguard as well, and this unit gets plus 15. So look at that. Very, very powerful card here, as you're going to be able to get a Vanguard restand and a rearguard restand. This is so cool, but thankfully it's once per turn because it'd be a little bit broken if we could spam that multiple times. But I'm really thankful that Polaris opens up this avenue for a very different V Premium style deck where it's very reliant on the OTK, but I'm really glad that we kind of go back to the numbers and the restand points that this lovely guy adds us to. And so now you're going to try to figure out how we're getting over 70k. Well, the first grade 3 we play to support this play style is 4 copies of Amber's Triangular. This card is very good. It says during your turn, if you have no other rear guards in the same column as this unit, he gets 10k on his own. So if you put him on an Oxel 1, he's going to be 32k on his own, which he's already over half the requirement there to get your buff, which we're playing other cards inside the deck to give the buff, and so it's very, very strong indeed. And then when this unit attack hits, you can choose one of your other rear guards, and it gets plus 10,000 power. So this card is very good, both for being on a rear guard and having like 2 at a time where you can threaten the on hit to pump this up to 42. So you're just knocking on the door of that 50k to restand this guy. He is just so good, and he is definitely designed to play with our boy Polaris. And then I have 3 copies of Tester Fox. Tester Fox here is fantastic. I mean, I don't know why you really wouldn't ever want to play this card. I think this card is very, very strong. Just being able to put back triggers, you know, these fronts that we're playing are going to win us the game. Being able to call out an additional unit, maybe to help us set up in a different way. But you can also just Soul Blast 1 and give something 10k. You're not really too much caring about the Researcher Fox in this deck, even though we do play it. It's still not our main avenue, since we're not discarding a bunch of cards. It's not going to gain a lot of natural power on its own. But the fact that Tester Fox here can give a unit for a free 10k really helps bolster our chances of being over the 50k and hopefully get up to the 70k threshold that we are aiming to do with this deck. But because we play a few cards that require soul, we're actually playing 2 copies of Hamsuke's Rival Rocket Pencil Hamden. And the reason this card is so good is because it's going to counterblast 1, you shove a card into soul, and you give when another unit is placed on an additional rearguard circle, you give that unit 10k. So an Amber's Triangular on an XL1 with this on the board for the CB and Shove to Soul is a 42 already. So it's just hands down so good. But the other cool thing is that if you have 2 or more additional rearguard circles, this eventually will let you start drawing cards. So this card is absolutely perfect for what you're aiming to do inside Polaris, and we just really are appreciative that we have this as well. But that is going to do it for the grade 3s. On to the grade 2s here. We're playing 4 copies of Measured Fossa. Now, this card here actually serves as multi-purpose, as it lets you rush early, but it also, when your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you can Soul Blast 1 on swing and shoot something, give it 10k even though it retires at the end of the turn. But again, you're just aiming to just OTK your opponent. That's all you're trying to do, so that's why you Soul Blast 1, and you're just trying to pump this thing as big as possible to restand Polaris and restand the rear guard. So you're just trying to push for early game damage and do all that amazing stuff, which Fossa helps us handle beautifully. And then because we love consistency and seeing all these grade 3 pieces we are playing 4 copies of Blusher Parakeet. This card is absolutely phenomenal. By looking at the top 7 cards, you can add 1 grade 3 from among them to hand after counterblasting 1, which this card is perfect. Just again for consistency purposes, because again, we need to ride a Polaris and we need to find our grade 3 surrounding our game plan to get there, and so Blusher Parakeet does that really, really well. And then to round off the grade 2s, I'm playing 2 copies of the Researcher Fox. Now, again, this is not that big of a deal, but if you're kind of in the behind game plan and you may need a second Oxel, this helps us find our re-rides, because when it's retired off an additional rearguard circle, you can CV1 when it's retired off a card ability, so it can be like your Fossa or your Tester Fox, but you can CV1 and go search your deck for a card on your Vanguard circle, which in this case would be Polaris, and it just helps you just get better numbers and grind, so this card is fantastic. Moving on into our grade 1s, we are playing 4 copies of Mini Belly. Again, our consistency is what we harp on here, and this is why we love to play it, so please just go in on the consistency, find your grade 3s, all that good stuff. Then I'm playing 4 copies of Babushk. So this little assistant here of the history scholar Babushk, should put my name in there. But when he's placed on the Vanguard circle, you can discard a card and draw another card. So this actually gives us in the deck four really good ride targets, which we're really thankful to have, with a total of 8. So we have 4 in the Mini Belly and 4 in the Babushk. But this card overall too is after it boosts, you can retire it. And the really neat thing is that you can give a unit +10 on the board. So let's say you find this, a Hamden or a Tester Fox, and then a Amber Strangler on that Excel 1. You'll call the Hamden or you'll call the Tester Fox, do whatever skill, and you'll be able to pump guarantee with those between just additionally 2 cards to hit your Amber Strangler over 50, or hit it to 52. Which is perfect. So we really like this card. This card is very important to the Polaris game plan, and that's why we need to play it. And then wrapping up here for our main deck before triggers, I'm playing 2 copies of Monoculus Tiger, and that's because guard restricts can win you the game. So what we kind of lean into here now is always like actually milling a normal unit, because the very cool thing is you can swing Polaris. Sometimes like they no guard it or whatever, and then like you check like a front and a crit. And so then you're actually able to like reboost Polaris with this, and then like be like, oh yeah, by the way, this thing's like over 50 something with a crit, and you can't PG this, bro, so please hard guard. It's just wild. So yeah, this helps us finish some games sometimes. Also, it's pretty good like on its own if you're able to get it like up pretty beefy if you hit the right stuff. So this was kind of an include as a win more card. Plus it gives us 2 more ride targets because we really don't want a G assist in this deck. So yeah. Perfect for you and Monoculus Tiger. Under the triggers, we're playing 4 copies of Alarm Chicken and 4 copies of our Chinchilla. We just play 8 fronts. 8 fronts here is so important by giving your whole entire board in that front row that power that's going to help you out substantially with giving how Polaris' skill is worded of it will give its power to that unit's power, but if both saw 10, then it's going to just be even larger, and so that's why these fronts here are so important. But we are an aggro deck, so we do end up still playing the 4 crit sentinels. Again, 1 card guards, we're going to be using a lot of our hands, so those PGs may actually like hurt us more than help us. So this, having the pawn bellies in here, again, it's pressure because now like them seeing this, you're going to be like, oh, now he has crits. So now I have to actually be kind of worried about that Vanguard swing, which is perfect because we love being in this position to be like, hey, I could just straight up take you out if I wanted you to be taken out. And then finally, I play 4 Heal Guardian because this deck is super fragile and you really want to play these. You don't want to get rushed out of the gate. Like just being curb stomp and you're the deck trying to do the curb stomping. Yeah, it's just not good for you. So just play the Heal Guardians, live, and hopefully you can keep that aggro up. And then you guys have been hearing me talk about it. For the first time, I'm going to recommend you use these markers for Polaris just because you can get more advantage, more consistency in the numbers, but instead of trying to fight to find that last 5k, you already have the free 10k here, so just use it. And that is why I am really thankful that we still have access to Oxel 1. But that is going to do it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure if you do not have any of your cards yet, go order with Kingslayer cards and use the promo code SCHOLAR and save 5% at checkout. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, keep up with me as I continue this content grind. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week. I love you all, and take care.